In this lecture, we will learn about the various type of loading that acts on the PB structure. Already we have defined various load patterns and load cases. We have defined dead load, live load, collateral load, and wind load along the four directions, and earthquake loads. In this Excel file, I have entered the length of the building. It is approximately 91.15 meter. Here you can see that this 91.15 meter is the length and width is approximately 40 meters as we have modeled initially. Purlin spacing usually we take in the range of 1.5 meters to accommodate the sheeting width. Base spacing is 7.667. This is called base spacing, that is the distance between one portal and another portal. After that, clear heave height, that is 5 meter, and maximum height, it is 7 meter in the center, and roof slope, it is 10 degree, and dead load is basically the self weight plus weight of sheeting, purlins and sag rods. So it is approximately in the range of 15 kg per meter square, and our UDL is approximately 15 into the base spacing divided by 100. So it comes out to be approximately 1.15 kN per meter on the middle bay, and on the end bay that will be 50% of it. That is on the gable end, as effective span is less, so the load will be 50%. What I am trying to say here is that the distance, the load, the contribution area for this portal will be 50% here and 50% here. So it makes base spacing of approximately 7.667. But if we will talk about this gable end, the distance is less. That is, on this portal, what basically will happen is that only 50% will be the contribution area. Rest 50% will be taken by this portal. So the load will be very less on this portal. Distance here we have is 7.242. Dead load for 7.667 meter. Center span and dead load for 7.242. That is gable end span. So we can multiply the total loading into 7.242. We can add a cell here. Base spacing for center, so it comes out to be approximately 0.54 kN per meter. So we need to apply this dead load. Now all the portals are selected. Click on close, go to view and show selected objects only. So now we have all the main beams, and on these beams we need to apply loading of 1.15 kN per meter. So we go to assign frame loads and distributed. We select dead and we enter 1.15 for gravity and left click on apply. Similarly, we select these two frames and we enter 0.54. So now we have applied all the dead loadings. After that, similarly, we need to calculate the collateral load loading. So collateral load is basically the load on the rafters due to HVAC services, fireproofing, solar panels, etc. So the loading due to this approximately comes out to be 25 kg per meter square. Sometimes it go as high up to 40 kg per meter square. It all depends upon the services that we are installing below the rafters. So we need to multiply this 25 by 7.667 center span and by 7.242 for the gable end span. So here we can calculate it by multiplying 25 by 7.667. Similarly, we can also calculate it for the gable end span. So it comes out to approximately 0.91. So we select collateral loading here. This value is approximately 1.92. The direction is gravity. We select all the frames here, that is center frames, and click on apply. So now we have applied 1.92 kN per meter loading on all the frames, and for the end frame the loading is approximately 0.91. Similarly, we can calculate the loading of the live load. So it comes out to be approximately 2.72 for the end span and 5.75 for the center spans. So we repeat the same procedure for the live loads. So after that we need to study about the wind load. So basically we can consider wind speed to be approximately 33 meter per second. Design wind speed Vz is basically Vb into probability factor K1 into terrain height and structure size factor K2 into topography factor K3 and into cyclonic factor K4. So for our case all these values are coming out to be 1 only. So Vz is basically 33 into 1 into 1 into 1 into 1. It comes out to be 33 meter per second. This is design wind speed. And design wind pressure is basically 0.6 into Vz square. It comes out to be 0.653 kN per meter square. After that we need to calculate design wind pressure PD by multiplying PZ, that is 0.653 by KD into KA into KC. KD is wind directionality factor, KA is area averaging factor, and KC is combination factor. And design wind pressure is basically PZ into KD into KA and KC. You should make sure that the multiplication value of these KD into KA into KC should be greater than 0.7. It should not be less than 0.7. If it is coming out to be less than 0.7, then we should take minimum value of 0.7. And after that we need to calculate the pressure coefficients. Pressure coefficients we can calculate by calculating the total area and the area of the opening. In our case, area of the face is coming out to be approximately 455.75, which is calculated by multiplying L by height. So this is basically the exposure area and this is the area of the openings. Here we can see that we have 3 openings here for rolling shutter. RS means rolling shutter. So we have 3 into 4 12 meter square plus 3 into 4 12 meter square 24 and plus 4 into 5 20. The 12 plus 12 plus 20, it comes out to be approximately 44 meter square. So if we divide this value by this value, the percentage area of opening is coming out to approximately 9.65%. And according to IS 875 part 3, if our percentage is between 5 to 20%, then that area is partially enclosed. We can calculate all the coefficients with the help of this sheet. Here I have considered wind directionality factor. It is guiding us to take wind directionality factor of 0.9 and K area averaging factor, our area is greater than 100. So we have we have considered 0.8. So here we can see that this value is now less than 0.7. So we should check KC also, and KC is 0.9 for the building envelope when roof is subjected to pressure, internal pressure is section, or vice versa. So here we have seen that we need to take the multiplication factor by as 0.7. So what we can do here is that we need to multiply E47 by 0.7. So it comes out to be 0.457 kN per meter square. So this is the minimum value of the wind pressure that we need to consider. If our value is greater than 0.7, then what we need to do here is that we need to multiply it like this. So for your reference, I am keeping this cell like this. So in the case where the value is like greater than 0.7, then we need to multiply it like this, and when it is less than 0.7, then we need to do it like this. So if you are using this Excel sheet, you should be careful about the value in this cell. So that is why I am highlighting this as gray, that you need to check it manually. And after that, pressure coefficients. Area of the face is approximately 455.75, and what I was telling you initially was that the enclosure factor there is a separate clause for internal pressure coefficients, and this clause says that for buildings with medium and large openings, if the medium opening is between 5 to 20%, then we shall calculate internal pressure with plus 0.5 and minus 0.5. And when the building openings are larger than 20%, then we need to take internal pressure coefficient of plus 0.7 and minus 0.7. If the building is fully enclosed, then we need to take plus 0.2 and minus 0.2. So in our case, we take plus 0.5 and minus 0.5. After that, the code guides us to calculate the wind load for these type of structures. That is, it has separate table for walls of rectangular clad buildings and for pitched roof of rectangular clad buildings. So this is our case. So in this case, what we need to check here is that we need to check the value of H by W. H by W is nothing but 5 meter divided by 40 meter. So height divided by width. So it comes out to be approximately 0.125, and L by W, that is length divided by width. So we need to divide 91.15 by 40. So it comes out to be approximately 2.28. So in our case, we need to check H by W for 0.125 and L by W for 2.28. First of all, if we will check for walls only. For walls, our H by W is 0.125, that is less than 0.5. So this is our row that we need to check. After that, L by W is 2.28. That is this case, that is L by W, it is saying that it is between 1.5 and 4. So we need to enter these values. In this case, you will see that this is a plan of the building. This is face A, this is face B, face C and face D. Wind angle, it is showing 0 and it is showing 90. That is, it is perpendicular to ridge and it is across the ridge. Ridge line is this line. So this is a ridge line. So when I will say that wind is perpendicular to ridge, it means that wind is acting like this. And when I will say that wind is across the ridge, it means that wind is acting like this. So coming back to our case, we need to enter these 8 values, that is plus 0.7, minus 0.5 for wind angle 0. So plus 0.7 and minus 0.25, that we have already entered. And after that, for 0 and wind face C and D, that is gable end frames. So the value is minus 0.6. So this is also correct. After that, we need to check for 90 degrees. So for 90 degree, it is minus 0.5 and minus 0.5. So this is also correct. And for C and D, it is plus 0.7 and minus 0.1. So this is also correct. So we have calculated wind pressure, external wind pressure coefficients for H by W 0.125 and for L by W to be approximately 2.28. After that, we need to check the pressure coefficients for the roof. So for roof, if you will see that our H by W value is 0.125. So it is guiding us like this. So if H by W is less than 0.5, then and our sloping degree is 10 degree. So we need to enter minus 1.2, minus 0.4, minus 0.8 and minus 0.6. So minus 1.2, minus 0.4 and minus 0.8 and minus 0.6. So all these values are correct. Now basically, if we want to calculate wind load on these members, that is on these portals and on the vertical columns, then what we need to do is that we need to calculate the wind force or wind load in the form of uniformly distributed load. So what we can do here is that when we want to calculate the wind load on individual structural elements such as roofs and walls and individual cladding units and their fittings, it is essential to take account of the pressure difference between the opposite phases of such elements or units. For clad structures, that is our case, it is therefore necessary to know the internal pressure as well as external pressure. Internal pressure we have calculated it to be 0.5 plus minus, and for external pressure coefficients for walls and roofs we have already calculated here. And we need to subtract external pressure coefficient minus internal pressure coefficient. this will comes out to be a value into area, that is surface area of the structural element or cladding unit, into PD, that is design wind pressure that we have calculated here. So with these graphs you can easily check what exactly is our behavior here. Here if the value is negative, that it means that it is away from the structure, and if it is plus like here, then it means that it is towards the structure, like this. So it will act against gravity and it will act towards gravity, and this is a simple value, that is plus 4.21 along this and plus 0.25 along this. In this case only the value is coming out to be negative, so it means that this force will be acted like this. And how we have calculated this value? This is basically 1.2 is nothing but CPE minus CPI, that is this component is 1.2 and this component is basically the base spacing into design wind pressure, that is this 1.2 CPE minus CPI into wind pressure into base spacing. So it will gives us in the value in the form of uniformly distributed load. If we will multiply by area, it will only gives us a point load. So to avoid that ambiguity, we can, as a structural engineer, the practice is only that we need to apply uniformly distributed load on this column or on this rafter. So if we will check all the signs here, and similarly we can align the arrows. So this is away from the structure, this is towards, this is along this positive direction, positive, away from the structure, away, and in the negative direction. So this is also away from the structure, away, away and away, and this is 0. Sometimes it do happens that CP becomes equal to CPI. So if CP minus CPI, it comes out to be 0 and the total load is also 0. This is also negative, this is also 0. And similarly we need to calculate the wind force for the gable ends also. If you will see the diagram here, it is also giving us the coefficients for A and B as well as for C and D. So these are the coefficients for C and D. If you will see the graph here, you will notice that CP for surface, the code is guiding us to apply the wind load on face A and B as well as on face C and D, that is the gable end face. So we can calculate it by similar procedure, that is CP minus CPI into A into PD. So all these values are negative, again negative, again negative, and this value is positive. So it means that it will be suction force. Suctions means that the structure will try to come inwards. So this is basically wind parallel to ridge and wind with plus CPI and wind with minus CPI. So here also you will see that basically I am repeating again, we have basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different types of diagrams here. Number 1 diagram is wind across the ridge with minus CPI. Number 2 is wind across the ridge with plus CPI. So what we have done here is that basically our problem is that CPI value is not single, it is plus also and it is minus also. So we need to check for suction also, and we need to check for the internal pressure also. So what we can do here is that we can consider two cases, one with the plus CPI and one with the minus CPI. So if it is written here that it is minus CPI, you will notice that there is a plus here, cause minus and minus becomes plus. And here if you will notice here with the plus CPI, you will notice here there is a minus, cause plus into minus is minus. So this is basically somewhat a tedious math that you need to do before calculating wind load on a PEB structure. So coming back to our model, if we want to apply this type of loading, so this is basically wind across the ridge with plus CPI and minus CPI plus CPI, and wind parallel to ridge with plus CPI and minus CPI. So we name this wind load cases we name it as WL1, WL2, WL3, WL4. This is again WL1, WL2, WL3 and WL4. So first of all, we will model the WL1 force on all the frames. So for WL1, this loading is defined for the center spans. We will multiply it by 0.5 to calculate the wind load for the gable end frames. We select the load case here, load pattern here is WL1, and left click on apply. So now we have applied the loading of 2.45 kN per meter on all these frames. After that, we need to apply gravity loading of 0.35 kN per meter on all the right frames. Right side, that is leeward frames. This is the windward side and this is the leeward side. This loading is applied incorrectly, that we can correct, and this value needs to be 0.35 plus 0.35. And as we can select replace existing loads, so existing load will be replaced with the corrected loads. So similarly, we need to apply loadings for the gable ends also. So we need to multiply it by 0.5, that is 0.35 into 0.5, it comes out to approximately 0.175. The direction is gravity. We need to select these frames, left click on apply, and 2.45 divided by 2, that is 1.225. And the direction is against gravity, that is minus. So now we have completed wind load WL1 loading for the roof only. But in this case, you will see that we need to apply WL1 loading for the walls also, that is for the vertical columns also. So the loading is coming out to approximately 1.2 and 0.25. So what we can do is that we can select all the frames here, go to view, show all objects, 3D, and go to select and object type, select columns. Left click on select and then close. Make sure that during this whole procedure you have pressed Ctrl key on your keyboard. Go to view and show selected objects only. And in this case we need to apply 4.21 kN per meter loading. So we need to select all the columns here. Enter the value as 4.2 and direction now as global X. Left click on apply, and similarly 2.1 loading on the gable end columns. And similarly, if we want to apply column loading on the leeward, the value is approximately 0.88. Press shift button on your keyboard to rotate the view. And enter the value 0.88. Notice that the direction is outside. So this is the positive direction, and we just need to left click on apply. So we can see the direction here, it is correct, and 0.44 for the gable end columns. So now we have applied the wind loading for the WL1 case on the central and gable ends, but we need to apply the wind force for on the gable end columns also. The value is approximately for WL1, it is coming out to be minus 0.35, that is towards outside the structure. So we will select these columns here, and the direction has to be plus y, that is global y, and the value is 0.35. So left click on apply. We can check that whatever we are applying is correct or not by increasing the force. So the direction is correct, so we need to apply again, replace it by 0.35. This was just a check, and similarly here we need to apply minus 0.35. Left click on apply, and now we have applied WL1 loading on all the members. So we can go to display, load assigns, frame, load pattern WL1, left click on apply, and then OK. So here you can see that we have applied loading on all the members for WL1 case. So similarly we need to calculate and we need to apply loading for WL2, WL3 and WL4. For WL2 the loading is minus 5.961 and minus 3.16. So now we need to apply WL2 loading case. In WL2 you will notice that on the top rafter the loading is coming out to be 5.961 on the windward face, and on the leeward face it is approximately coming out to be 3.16 kN per meter. So we need to go to display undeformed shape. We need to select all these rafters here. So to do that, press shift button on your keyboard. Go to assign, frame loads and distributed. Select the load pattern name as WL2. Enter the load value as 5.961 and direction of load application is gravity. So that is, it will act against gravity. So left click on apply. So here you will notice that we have applied 5.961 loading on the windward face. Similarly 3.16. And left click on apply. So now we have applied loading on the leeward face also. Similarly we need to apply 0.7 kN per meter and 2.63, all of them acting towards the structure. So this will be along this direction and this will be along this direction. Before that we need to apply the 50% loading on the gable ends also. So 5.96 divided by 2 approximately comes out to be 2.98. Left click on apply, and similarly the 3.16 divided by 2 comes out to be minus 1.58. So in this manner we have applied the wind loadings on all the rafters. So now we will apply loadings on the columns. So before that we need to study what exactly is the loading. It is approximately 0.7 on the windward face. So we select all the columns on the windward face. The direction has to be global X. Here you can see that this is the global X direction, and left click on apply. And similarly 50% loading has to be applied on the gable ends columns also. So it is approximately 0.35. And on the leeward face the value is minus 2.63 towards the structure, that is minus 6. So we enter minus 2.63 and we select all the columns. And similarly we enter the 50% loading is minus 1.31 on these two columns. This one column is remaining. We can again enter the data minus 2.63. And after that we need to apply the wind load on the gable end. That is, we need to apply minus 3.86 away from the structure. And to apply the loading away from the structure we need to take global Y, and the value is 3.86. Left click on apply, and similarly here the value needs to be minus 3.86. So now we have applied wind loading for the WL2 case also. We can check it by going to display, load assigns frame, here enter WL2. So here you can see that all the loading that has been applied for the wind WL2 case. After that WL3, that is wind parallel to the ridge with positive CPI. That is if the wind will come from this direction. Right now WL1 means wind is coming from this direction, WL2 means wind is coming from this direction, WL3 means wind is coming from this direction, and WL4 means wind is coming from this direction. So we go to display, undeformed shape, and start applying loading for the WL3 case. For WL3 the force is approximately 4.56 and 3.86, and both of them are away from the structure, that is uplifting force. We select WL3 load case and enter the value as 4.56. Direction as gravity. The pattern name is correct, and left click on apply. And after that we need to similarly select the leeward side, that is 3.86. So right now we applied two loadings, that is wind across the ridge with minus CPI, that is WL1, and wind across the ridge with plus CPI. Our third case is wind parallel to ridge with plus CPI, and fourth case is wind parallel to ridge with minus CPI. So coming back to our model, we have applied WL3 wind load case, and we have applied this 4.56 kN per meter uplifting force and 3.86 kN per meter uplifting force. Now we need to apply 3.51 on the left columns and 3.51 on the right columns also. Before that, we need to apply the gable end loadings also. So 4.56 divided by 2 comes out to be 2.28 in the negative direction against gravity. Select all the gable end beams here. Left click on apply. And select 1.93 here. Left click on apply. So now we applied wind load uplifting forces on all the rafters. After that, we need to apply forces on the columns, that is of 3.51. The direction has to be -x for these columns. This global x and minus here. Left click on apply and minus 1.75 for gable end columns. And plus 1.75 for these columns. And 3.51 for these columns. After that, we need to apply WL3 for the gable end columns. Its value is coming out to be 4.21 kN per meter, and that is plus, that is, it is suction. So we need to apply 4.21 value here. And the direction has to be plus y. So we enter global y direction and we left click on apply. And similarly, here we need to enter minus. So now we have completed the loadings for the WL3 load case also. In the next, we will apply for WL4. So this value is quite less, that is minus 1.05 for this end and minus 0.35 for this end. So we select WL4 here, minus 1.05, direction is gravity. Display undeformed shape. We select all the rafters here and left click on apply. And 50% for the gable ends, that is minus 0.525. And minus 0.35 for this side. Minus 0.175 for gable ends. After that, the loadings on the column is 0, and on the gable end it is coming out approximately minus 2.1 and away from the structure. So we need to apply plus 2.1 here, in the global y direction, and minus 2.4 here. Display load assigns and frame. We select WL4, left click on apply and close. So now we have successfully applied WL4 loadings on the columns. So in this lecture we have learned how to calculate the dead load, live load, wind load, and how to apply the dead load, live loads, wind loads and collateral loads on the PB sheets.